This is KCBD News Channel 11 at 4.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Angie Wynn in for Christy Harton. Amazon is coming to the Hub City. Today, the Lubbock Economic Development Alliance, or LEDA, announced that Amazon would bring 2 facilities. One Amazon location is in the Lubbock Business Park. The second is set to be built in Northeast Lubbock off of Loop 289. LEDA officials say this would bring around 230 full-time jobs and a couple hundred part-time jobs. Amazon is currently hiring for one of its locations. We have links for that on our website. Just go to kcbd.com, click on this story. We'll have more of this story coming up tonight at 5 and 6. Congressional Democrats are ready to move forward quickly on President Joe Biden's massive $1.9 trillion COVID relief proposal, even without Republican support. But a group of Senate Republicans has a pitch for President Biden, and it could put a major campaign promise to the test. Karen Kafa has the latest developments from Washington.
President Joe Biden opening the door to a group of Republicans to discuss his COVID relief proposal, but not willing to cede too much.
He's happy to hear from them, but he's also feels strongly about the need to make sure the size of the package meets this moment.
10 GOP senators putting forth a $600 billion plan that is significantly smaller than Biden's $1.9 trillion bill. Among the areas the GOP group has targeted, scaling down Biden's proposed income threshold for direct payments.
You could have a family with 3 kids making almost $300,000 a year getting a check, and many of these people have had no impact from COVID. In fact, some are doing quite well, others are struggling. Let's focus on those who are struggling.
It's one point Biden appears open to negotiate. But in other areas, Democrats may be less willing to yield, like movement toward a $15 minimum wage, citing the urgency of the moment.
If you listen to economists across the political spectrum, they say that given the big hit to the economy we saw in the last quarter, it's important to go big here.
Senate Democrats could try to pass Biden's bill without any Republican support, using a budget and deficit-related mechanism called reconciliation that needs a simple majority rather than 60 votes. The White House says that's up to them.
He's leaving it up to them, and he believes that there is still room for bipartisan support for this package.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Turning now to weather, we've seen milder conditions headed into the new work week. Let's go to John now with our first alert forecast details, what we can expect ahead. Hi, John.
Hello there, Angie. I tell you what, just in time for us to have Groundhog Day, or should I say Prairie Dog Pete Day tomorrow. We've got some clouds filtering back in, and we have some very spring-like temperatures on the way. Look at the 5-day forecast, not for a long period of time, but over the next couple of days, we're looking at 60s, climbing up into the 70s eventually, but we do have cooler temperatures and a chance of rain coming up. Now, right now, we're looking at a temperature of about 60 degrees in Lubbock, south to southwesterly winds at about 14 miles an hour. Dew point very low at 22 degrees, therefore humidity low as well. But the winds aren't that bad, and look at that temperature. That's above normal, but you're going to see much warmer temperatures coming up over the next 3 days. Your evening forecast, we're looking at mid-50s at 7 o'clock, gradually cooling down to the low 40s with the clouds in place, south-southwesterly winds at about 15 miles an hour. Temperatures will be slow to cool down, but obviously they are going to be cooling down during the evening. Then looking ahead, here are your numbers. 72 coming up tomorrow. I'm looking at the upper 70s, believe it or not, on Wednesday. May have some communities around 80 degrees by then as clouds increase off and on the next few days. More clouds. Temperatures start heading down. The winds start heading up. That'll be late Wednesday into Thursday. Right now, the chances of any kind of precipitation, Angie, looking very slim, although there may be a chance of some winter precipitation, at least catching parts of the Texas Panhandle. But here's still a question mark for the South Plains.
John, thank you. Tonight, millions of Americans are dealing with a major blast of winter. It's bringing blizzard-like conditions and treacherous transportation to the Northeast, along with potential for power outages and also coastal flooding. It's also hampering the effort to vaccinate people for COVID-19. Chris Pallone has the latest.
A massive winter storm is blasting the East Coast, the system stretching from the southeast to northern New England. In the Northeast, millions are under winter storm watches and warnings. Oh, boy. The Nor'easter bringing blizzard-like conditions to New York City and possibly the biggest snowfall there in 5 years.
Stay off the road, stay off the streets and sidewalks, stay inside. If there's any way you can avoid traveling today.
With up to 2 feet of snow potentially in the forecast, New York City is under a state of emergency. That means all non-essential travel is banned, leaving Midtown Manhattan looking like a ghost town. Staying home not an option for New York's doctors and nurses.
It is kind of tense, but when you have to come to work to help other people, it don't matter the weather.
For those who are driving, it's tough going. Coastal flooding a factor from New Jersey to New England. Thousands of flights are canceled throughout the region, also canceled in several states COVID-19 vaccination appointments. The snow falling so fast, cleaning up was a losing effort for some.
I know I'm going to have to do it again in a couple hours, but I'd rather do half it now and half it later.
The system crossed the nation over the weekend, dumping snow in the Midwest. Frigid temperatures leaving Lake Michigan looking more like the Arctic Ocean. New England now in the crosshairs.
So this is one people should take seriously, prepare for, and pay attention to.
But the storm isn't bad news for everyone.
Get set.
As children, many who have been stuck learning from home because of the pandemic had a chance to get out and enjoy some winter fun. Chris Pallone, NBC News, New York.
Well, the man accused of killing 23 people during a mass shooting in 2019 at an El Paso Walmart will not face a judge until May. 22-year-old Patrick Crucius has been indicted on 90 federal charges, including hate crimes. The charges relate to the people who were killed as well as those who survived the August 3rd massacre. It was one of the nation's deadliest shootings and the deadliest attack on Latinos in modern U.S. history. The docket call for Crucius was originally scheduled for today, but due to COVID-19 has been postponed to May 3rd via Zoom video conference. Crucius has pled not guilty. Today, remember those who died on the space shuttle Columbia. 18 years ago today, 7 astronauts were killed when the space shuttle broke apart over Texas as it re-entered the Earth's atmosphere. Among those astronauts were pilot Willie McCool, a Coronado High School grad, also Commander Rick Husband, an Amarillo High graduate and Texas Tech alum. Just days ago, NASA honored 3 fallen astronaut crews at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, and these 2 were included. They read names of the fallen, had a wreath laying, and a moment of silence. You can see the ceremony there. And it was just 5 months ago a new STEM magnet school in Lubbock opened its doors, named in honor of pilot Willie McCool. McCool's family still resides in Lubbock and were a big part of the school's opening day this past August. The Salvation Army is helping the homeless find a home of their own and the tools to stay off the streets. However, as 9 families find a place of their own, many will spend their first night without any furniture, and that means a night without a bed. They are in desperate need of furniture donations. Beds, mattresses, tables, chairs, and bedding, and any furniture is needed to help these families feel at home. You can donate at the Salvation Army donation station or drop-off location on Avenue J. Coming up tonight at 5, we'll hear about how the Salvation Army is helping people transition into success. On this week's Traffic Watch, we want to remind you if you're headed north on University from 50th Street, the city has the northbound lanes closed from 40th to 47th Street. The closure was caused by a water main break that happened last Friday. Repairs are underway and will last until at least midweek. So keep in mind on your daily commute, northbound lanes for those several streets, 40th to 47th, will remain closed during this time. You are asked to just avoid the area altogether if possible. Also, construction on a water line will close a portion of Avenue D this week. Starting Thursday, the closure will move to 77th and 78th Streets. Over the next several weeks, the closures will progress to the south. Avenue D from 79th to 80th Street will be shut down for more than a week. Residents in the area are asked to avoid Avenue D and use numbered cross streets. Other drivers are asked to use I-27's frontage road and cross streets as a detour during the construction. Details can be found at KCBD.com. After defeating LSU on Saturday in the SEC Big 12 Challenge, the Red Raiders find themselves at number 13 in this week's AP Top 25 poll. The Red Raiders were ranked 10th in last week's poll. Coach Chris Beard and the team now have a tough game. That's happening tonight when they take on number 9, Oklahoma. It's a big Monday matchup. Texas Tech is 12-5 on the season, 4-4 in Big 12 play. Tip-off for tonight's game is at 8 o'clock inside the United Supermarkets Arena. Well, on the way, one company wants to create sustainable influence on the fashion industry using what they call a valuable unused resource. We'll explain in today's What's Trending. And later, some warmer conditions are on the way. John will have details in his first alert forecast. But first, A new coronavirus vaccine may soon get the green light. However, this one is different than the others. You're watching KCBD at 4.